Bonsoir les amis, this is Llyane Stanfield and you can find me at parisianfrench.com. Tonight I would like to answer a question that I received in the Facebook group, and the person who asked this question, actually indirectly, I'm gonna tell you the story. His name is Gilbert. Gilbert starts to learn French and he was looking for recommendations for books, and while that is always fantastic, and if you find someone who uses some books that they can recommend, please ask, as well as ask why do they recommend it, what is the feature of that particular resource that they recommend it for you, because what worked for them or what is important to them may not be important to you, so make sure that you connect well there. But so that's all fun, great and dandy and everything, but I thought, what would be the one tip that if I were to give to someone who starts to learn French, what would be the one tip that I would give? And so I told him, be careful not to learn the words one word at a time, how to pronounce them. Make sure that whatever resource you find, it contains the rules of pronunciation, all the rules of pronunciation. This is the biggest mistake that I noticed that is quite costly for most people, because learning one word at a time in French is wasting a lot of time. In English, that's what you got used to, and you think, well, I've done this in English, why wouldn't I do this in French? Sure, you can do that if you want to, but there's a problem here. At the beginning, we don't hear our own mistakes with our own ear, because the ear needs to be trained. And so until we train our ear, there is no way that we can correct ourselves. Meaning, there is no way for sure to tell that what I have heard from the person. So someone tells me the way to pronounce a word, cuillère, for instance, and so they say it to me, and I pick it up and I repeat it, and I'm saying, okay, I'm thinking, okay, so I repeated what they said. Problem though is that the French sounds are not the same with English sounds, and our ear needs to be trained in order for us to actually hear what they said. So we will start repeating what we thought we heard based on the exposure that we had to the language. And it takes a while, and everybody's different, it takes a while to actually get to hear correctly what someone else says. And so that's actually the reason why I'm doing the pronunciation course in my intensive program at the beginning with everybody, because we need to train our ear first in order to actually get to learning and making conversation. You need to really hear what someone tells you, and for that you need to be able to hear your own mistakes, but first you need to hear what they are saying and repeat it the proper way. So that is a problem why someone who tries to self-educate, self-teach French would have challenge at the beginning. So yeah, in English, for instance, we have tear, tear. They're spelled exactly the same way, and yet we're saying them in different ways because they mean different things. So with the pronunciation course, once you have that, I honestly didn't find a complete one. I had to make my own pronunciation course with that has all the rules of pronunciation. But in order, when we know how to pronounce, we know how to spell, because in French, writing and pronunciation are hand in hand. They reflect each other. except for exceptions, of course, but any comprehensive program, like for instance my intensive program, gets you up to high, intermediate to advanced level of conversation, meaning you will know how to read, write, grammar, and converse. And so any kind of program that's comprehensive like this will teach you most commonly used words, and typically those are the ones that are exceptions in pronunciation. So after any serious program, you will no longer, most of the words that you wouldn't know would be words that would reflect the rules of pronunciation. So even if you don't know words, you can actually know, you will know how to pronounce them. Where is that applicable? Why is that a good thing? Well, if you go to Paris and you want to make to invite someone to dinner and you want to order in the restaurant, you'll have a menu with practically a lot of unknown words. Even for someone who knows French, a lot of these chefs are very creative because they're artists, and they create these names, and so you may not know really what you're saying, but yet you will know how to say it. Sorry, you will not know what they mean, but you'll know how to say them. So even if you don't know what's written on that menu, you will be able to order the meal in the restaurant without even knowing what exactly you're saying word for word. Another application, and that's a good thing, right? If you're going in Paris with your client, with your lover, with your friend, is always a good thing to be able to manage your language. Another application is when you go to Paris, or any francophone place for that matter, and you want to find your hotel. You will have a name of the hotel, of the street or streets that you should take, and you want to ask, and so you want to know how to pronounce those words. You don't need to hear them first in order to be able to pronounce them, and that's just the beginning. So that is the tip that I have for you. This is the biggest mistake that most people make when they start learning, and even later. And the way to avoid it is to learn the rules of pronunciation at the beginning, because later on is harder to unlearn what you've already learned and to learn the pronunciation the proper way. So that's what I had for you for today. If you want me to answer your question, your particular question, please join the Facebook group, and the link is in the description of this video. Stay on your game and don't ever give up on your dream to become bilingual. Learn to speak Parisian French and break your language barrier. Merci beaucoup et à dimanche. Au revoir.